Hi guys! Welcome to my first ever YouTube video. So I decided to start this vlog because I wanted to share my 11 years experience in the real estate industry. I've been blessed with, good mentors along the way, the likes of Randall Chongson, my bosses in Alveo Land, my colleagues, and I decided one day that, I think it's best if we share all of these things to as much people as we can so we can help spread financial awareness. And hopefully by doing so, people like you and me can make informed decisions when it comes to your investments. So guys, without further ado, let's start with the first 10 tips that you need to know before you invest in a condo. Okay, tip number 1. Before you invest in a condo, you need to check your financial status first. So what do I mean by that? Since investing in property is a long-term investment, it's a long-term commitment, you need to make sure that you are able to pay not just the down payment, not just the reservation fee, not just the monthly amortization, but even the lump sum and the other charges or hidden charges that may arise from the investment. So this is a common pitfall that a lot of investors fall into, especially when it comes to very affordable payment schemes like no down payment. For example, a seller or an agent approaches you and offers you, let's say, 10,000 pesos only a month with very minimal down payment or reservation fee. In some cases, no down payment at all. And then you quickly jump in, not realizing that at the end, you will have a big lump sum that you need to pay. So what happens? That lump sum, you'd have to get, financing for that. You have to have the cash to be able to pay for that if you're not going to get a loan. And in severe cases, what happens is that since you're not eligible for a loan, what will the developer do? They might be forfeiting what you have paid. In some cases, you are not able to refund anything at all. Depends on how long the payment term is. So to avoid all of this misery and this bad decision, you need to make sure that you are really ready. Check your finances. It's very important. Before you invest, you need to have your emergency fund, you need to have savings, you have to make sure that you're not into a lot of bad debts. You have to check also if you are emotionally ready to make this commitment, because there will be times like in this case right now wherein we're facing crisis that you may be triggered to just sell anytime you want. So you might end up in a loss because you sent at a lower price, below market, because you needed the cash to support your basic needs. So it's very important that before you jump into this, that your financial status is healthy and you have more than enough disposable income to pay for this obligation. For tip number 2, it's all about finding your investment purpose. So you may be investing for the purpose of capital appreciation. So for capital appreciation, you may want to look into properties that are pre-selling, or especially in areas that are what we call master planned developments, master planned estates, where you have a complete mixture of residential, commercial, you have the malls there, you have public transportation, you have hospitals, you have institutions like schools, basically everything that you need. And just make sure that when you consider these types of developments, that you're not too late in the game. Because if you buy when it's already fully built up, when there's not a lot of things that are going to happen in that particular area, then you might not be able to enjoy as high a capital appreciation as opposed to areas where there are still a lot of development that's going to happen. So when you talk to your real estate broker or real estate agent, make sure to ask, what are the future plans for that particular development? What are the infrastructure developments that are still in place when it comes to the government or even with the private developer who's doing the development. Now, if your strategy is for passive income, then you need to identify your target market. What type of renter or who is it that you want to rent your particular property? Are you looking for expats? Are you looking for people working in the BPO sector? Are you aiming for the luxury market, the mass market? So there are different types of markets that you may want to consider. You could even target the pogos, the Chinese people working here in the Philippines. So there's a different strategy for passive income, but what's most important is to make sure that there's a lot of business in the immediate area where your condominium is going to be located. You need to check if there's a healthy balance between the amount of jobs that are available in the particular area of your condo and the amount of supply of condominiums in that particular area. Now, if the demand is higher than the supply, then that's a good thing for you because vacancy would be very low. But if your supply is higher than the demand, or meaning the jobs available in that particular area, then you might have a problem. So if you're buying for the purpose of gaining passive income, make sure that it's in a vibrant place where there's a lot of businesses, there's a lot of economic activity, and the condominium that you're going to be renting out has enough people who can afford the rent. It's not just enough that you buy into a condominium and then you check, oh, there's an office building beside it, not checking how many people, what are the type of jobs that are available in that building, and not checking the competition that you might have within the immediate vicinity. So you can do this by researching the immediate area, trying to identify who will be your competitors. Okay, so this will help a lot in making your decision if this will be a sound investment for you. So if you're investing for the purpose of end use, whether it be for your own personal use, if you're going to relocate your family there, or it's just going to be your kids who will be studying in a school nearby, it's not enough that you consider the location of the property. There's a lot of things that you may want to factor in. What are those things? Like, say, for example, for personal use, what are the amenities that the condominium has to offer? Does it have a gym? If personal fitness is important to you, and because a condominium would have a very limited space, unlike a house, you won't have the luxury of building your home equipment, bringing your home equipment with you inside the condo, your gym equipment. So having a gym inside the condominium is very important. Another thing is if you like to cook, if you love cooking. So condominiums would have kitchens, but the size varies from one unit to another. So the smaller flats, let's say the studio, would have a very small kitchen. And if your passion is cooking, then that might be an issue for you. So consider that as well. So for end use, general rule is not just to look about the location of the property, it being close to your school, it being close to your place of work. You also need to consider the relative safety of the condominium. Does the developer have a good property management in place that can protect you and your loved ones? Do they have the track record in terms of maintaining the condominium? These are some of the questions that you need to ask. Okay, if it's already an RFO building that you're buying into, check if the quality of the building, if it's dilapidated already, if there's a lot of issues, if the elevators is working. You have to do your due diligence. You have to visit the site, especially when you're buying something that's already in the secondary market. It's quite funny. I'm going to share with you my experience. When I bought my condominium in BGC, the purpose was for my own personal use. But as years progressed, and when the property was turned over to me already, I realized that the rental is very high, so I'd rather rent it out than live in that condo, because my priorities changed throughout the years. Now I'm enjoying passive income, I'm enjoying capital appreciation until I sell it, of course. That's when I realized the returns. So the investment purpose changed over time, and I was very lucky that despite it not being for capital appreciation or passive income purpose at first, because my goal was to buy it for my own private use. I was lucky enough, because the condominium that I bought into was able to solve the other investment objectives that I may want to consider. So what am I trying to say? So if it's going to be offering high capital appreciation, if it's going to have high capacity for rent, high rental, and if it could also be a good place for you to live in, then it could be a very sound investment. It could be a very attractive investment. So when you're doing this, try to have a checklist and see whether you can check all of those boxes. For the third tip, if you're buying a second-hand condo, you need to check the title of the property. You may want to ask the owner for a copy of the CCT, or what we call the Condominium Certificate of Title. Check if there are any encumbrances when it comes to the title. You can check the title for that. You can check the pages if there is a mortgage or there are any issues attached to the property, and you may want to clear it out with the owner first before making that investment. You may want to check with the Register of Deeds if the title is authentic, because the worst thing that could happen is you buying into a second-hand condo and finding out that the property that you purchased is fake. The title is fake, and you lost millions already. For the fourth tip, if you're buying second-hand condo, you can ask for a copy of the tax payments on the property, because every year you need to pay for real estate property taxes, and you need to clear that with the owner if he or she has been updated with all of the payments, because you don't want to be having problems when you're executing the transfer of the title, because it won't be transferred as fast if the back taxes haven't been paid. So you won't have any clearance from the BIR. The CAR won't be issued if you have back taxes on the property. So bear that in mind. Ask for a copy of the tax payments and make sure that it's updated. For the fifth tip, if you're going to buy something that's pre-selling or in the primary market, you need to check the developer. Check for their reputation, check for their track record, check for their property management, check for the quality of their products, check if the developments that they do rise in value over time, check if the rentals of their property, how does it compare to their competitors. So these are the things that you may want to consider, because it's going to solve a lot of it's going to prevent a lot of headaches in the future. Dealing with a reputable developer will lessen your risk, especially in times of crisis, because there might be developers who won't be able to finish their particular project. It happened in the past before, during the 90s, when we were hit with the Asian financial crisis. Some developers weren't able to complete their condominium obligations, so a lot of the investors were left to wait, hanging with their investments, and their only recourse was to go to the court. And when you go to the court, you're going to be spending a lot of resources, time and energy, the heartache, the sleepless nights, and you're going to be stuck with the money that you paid. That's not a position you want to be in. So check the developer, make sure that you're only dealing with the good ones. Tip number 6, find the right real estate broker or real estate agent. When investing in properties, it's very important that you deal with a licensed professional. So what do I mean by this? If you can find someone who's a licensed real estate broker, that would be best. If not, at the very least, that person has to be an accredited real estate professional or real estate agent. So what do we mean by this? If he or she is a licensed broker, then he or she took the test with PRC and have a license to show for it that he passed the test and he complied with all the requirements. The broker would be equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge to help you with your investment. Why do we need to deal with licensed professionals and veer away from what we call colorum agents? The main reason for this is because we want to professionalize the industry and make the agents and brokers more accountable. Because you can complain for any grievances with the PRC and HLURB. If you're dealing with an unlicensed professional, then that person might not be as trustworthy as he or she might not be professional, and he or she is actually violating the law, because we have a law. It's called the RESA law, the Real Estate Service Act of the Philippines. So this particular law prohibits just anyone from practicing in the real estate profession. So after finding a licensed professional, you may want to do further research by checking his track record, how many clients he has in the past, or testimonials from other buyers or sellers he dealt with. The best way to do it is to ask your friends, your immediate network, your relatives, if they have a trusted broker, who serviced them in the past. If not, you can search online. There are plenty of competent brokers out there who are now offering their services. Step number 7, don't fall victim into marketing gimmicks. Okay, so what do we mean by this? Oftentimes, you would see maybe online, Facebook, carousel, some agents, they are posting marketing gimmicks, or what we call this no down payment scheme for as low as 7,000 a month, or as low as 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month, 15,000 a month, no down payment, buy now, pay later, things like that. It's not because it's good, that developers, because of competition, are coming up with this, very flexible payment terms. But what you need to understand, as I mentioned before, is that even if you have very low monthly payments, usually at the end, you would have a big lump sum or final balance that you need to pay. You would be surprised that by the time you pay the final balance, your monthly amortization with the bank could be 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times higher than what your initial monthly amortization was. So because of this, a lot of investors, and sadly most of them are OFWs working abroad, paying for these properties at a very low monthly amortization at first, no down payment schemes, and then after 3, 4, 5 years, they would be surprised to find out that from 10,000 a month, their monthly amortization is now 40,000 a month. And worse is that when they apply for a loan, they won't get approved because, let's say, their income capacity is not enough to pass the criteria set by the banks. So be very careful with this marketing gimmicks, this marketing style. If your agent really cares for you and really cares about your money that you're going to put in, then he or she will be transparent with you and give you how much, more or less, your monthly amortization with the bank will be when you take out a loan. Okay, for tip number 9, it's all about checking the environmental factors that may affect your condo. So what are these environmental factors that we're talking about? First is, you need to check if there's an immediate fault line in the vicinity where the condo you're looking at is going to be placed. In the Feebox website, you can check if there's an immediate fault line, how close the property is from the nearest fault line. Okay, you can research what type of soil there is, what type of foundation the property is built on, because this plays a lot when it comes to the risk your condo is going to experience when it comes to earthquakes. Another environmental factor that you need to consider for the condo if it's flood prone. So check for previous history if the area is susceptible to flood, and if it is, what are the steps that the developer has made in order to mitigate the effects of flooding. If there are partnerships with the local government to improve the drainage systems in the area. Some condos would have water retention facilities to minimize the effects of flooding and the effects of heavy torrential rain. So check for these things. Another thing to consider is the effects of wind. So if there's a very strong hurricane, and that may affect the condominium, that could bring damages to your property. It can break windows. Check the developer, what type of material they use for the windows, or what measures did they put in place to minimize the effects of high pressure winds hitting the condo, especially in times of hurricanes. Number 10 on my list is to check for the property manager of the development. Most big and reputable developers would have their own property management company who will take care of the condominium even after it has been turned over to the association. Now, if you're buying into a second-hand market or a secondary property, you need to check the existing property management company who's taking care of the building, because this plays a huge role into how the value of the property will progress over time. Bear in mind that the properties has to be managed. If you don't have a good property management company, this might turn off the residents living or the tenants living in the condominium, and you don't want that, because that will lower the property rental or even the property value of the property. That's why you would see cases wherein, for example, you have two buildings adjacent to each other, built almost at the same time with the same features and amenities, and the only difference is the property management company. The property that has the better property management will most likely have an edge in terms of capital appreciation and rentability. So that sums up the first 10 tips that you need to know when investing in a condo. I'll be posting another video with another 10 tips. So if you like this video, please press the like button below, and also subscribe if you want to follow all of the videos that I'll be posting about real property, about investments, about personal finance. I'll also be doing a series where we'll be interviewing real estate professionals who will share their experience along the way. So if you're interested in sales, this is a good one for you. So guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. I hope I was able to impart a lot of knowledge for you today, and I hope you can use it when it comes to your investments, so we can all grow wealthy together. Thank you.